Okay, this is part 3 where we take our work previously output from the DJI Phantom 3, After Effects, and Buju, and we put it together in C4D, Cinema 4D. So we are going to take and open Cinema 4D. We're going to open a scene file that we have previously had in the C4D scenes, and it's named Match Move. We click open, and we leave it at default 10 and centimeters. You got to make sure it's centimeters. It should be the default, but just in case, that's what you want it set as, because we exported it at 100 scale already, which, by the way, matches up with 10 centimeters. Okay, this is found out through great trial and error, but that's what works. Click OK. Alrighty, now we go to scrub. Let's scrub through our timeline and look. The position, the tracking points do not move with the ground, and that's not what we want. Something's broken. Ah. So let's close this. No, don't save. We go to the C4D scene file. We open it with Notepad. And we got to change a couple of things with the file structure because C4D has a bug. We want to edit, find, and from memory, here's what you got to find. Minus 3.141593. I'm guessing that is a minus 3.141593. I'm guessing that's a rounded number for pi. Okay, we found it. One up from there is a key with a minus in front. You want to delete the minus and then select all the zeros in the first segment. Control C for copy. Then you want to select the minus 3.141593 and you want to paste. Control V. That changes it to those zeros. Now you want to do a multiple replace. You want to search for parent item space 6 zeros, 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 1. You select it all, copy it, replace it, change the last one to a 2, and then click replace all. Okay, that's done. Now you can save it. It is still a C4D file. Now we go to Cinema 4D. Wait for it to open. File open, match move, and open. 10 centimeters, okay. Now we have points that are all over the ground. So we stretch the slider out and you will notice that the points are now glued to the ground and move according to how the drone moved in the air. It's quite amazing how that kind of a bug slipped past Cinema 4D people. Okay, anyhow, So now that we have the match moved camera in the scene and these tracking points in the scene, the next thing we need to do is we want to create a shader. New material. We double click it to edit it. We turn specular off because you don't want specular coming from the background image. You go to color, you select texture and load image, and you go to the tie clip folder and the sequence. This is the original image sequence. No, I do not want to make a copy. This is the original image sequence that you rendered from After Effects. Now, once we're here, you'll see a little picture here. You want to click on it. Now, you go down to Animation tab, and you'll see Movie End Frame 0. You want to calculate, and that'll update to 268. See how that works? Now it's an animated image in the background. Close this. Now we want to left click and hold. Go to background, and we put a background in our scene. We want to drag that shader up to the background and let go. Lo and behold, now we have a background in our scene that matches the points, as you can see, that tracking points that were generated by Buju. CDs along the road and here. Okay, so what we're going to do is now we will go to, oh yeah, you want to go to, you want to add a floor, because when you put an object, like if you're going to put a building here, for example, you want something for it to cast shadows on without showing itself. And this is how you do that. You click it once, it makes a floor. Because it's a floor item, it actually goes forever. And we're going to drag our shader up and put it on our floor also. You'll see it has a bunch of tiled images. You don't want that, so you go to projection and change it from flat to frontal. Now, you'll also notice that it is darker than the others that it should be. Okay, so that's not good. So what we want to do is we want to go to floor. We want to right click. We want to Cinema 4D tag. We want to add a tag for compositing. We want to turn off self-shadowing, and we want to turn on compositing background. Okay. Now, when we click, let's go to render settings, 1920 by 1080, and current frame. Okay, we're going to leave it there for a while. Let's render into the window here. And you'll see it looks absolutely perfect. Forget the edge, because that's just the, that's an artifact of the window size. If you wanted to see it better, you could click this, and then it renders full size. We will mouse wheel back to make it fit, and see, it's at 80% size. And this is the output image that will be with us. Okay, so that it would render normally at this frame. So now we will move the video. Now you'll notice that the image, the background image, the video image files that we put in here are not updating per frame as I scrub along the timeline. That's okay, because when you render it, it will update. As you see, I have moved the scene, and right now the blue building's almost all the way over here at the edge. But if I render, you'll see that the scene actually renders correctly, and obviously you don't see the tracking dots, but the scene updates correctly. So everything with the render is working well so far. So we go back to the beginning, and what we're going to do is we are going to open up another perspective view so that we can navigate in our scene, and it will help us model what we've got going on a little better. View, camera. Let's see, where do we change that at? Okay, let's just change this to perspective. Okay, so now we see our camera there and our scene background. Don't worry about the effects as you rotate around, that don't matter. So you see the dots that are all lined up with the ground, and all right, yeah, that's good. Okay, so to test this, we're going to put an object in our scene. We'll make a block. We will scale it. And then we will move it back here. Over to that. We'll make it 2 by 2 by 2. And then we'll make it editable, the cube itself. Now we can use that to, let's move it up a little bit. You'll see the bottom yellow line of it just moving. Okay, all right, that's good. Okay. Let's stretch it out. Adjust the position a little bit. And let's render. Okay, as you can see, it is not exactly squared up with this, but that's okay, because the point registration is fine. It just needs to be rotated a little bit. But let's scale it this way a little bit first. Move it over a little bit. Render. Oh, that ain't bad. It's not bad. Now we want to rotate it a little bit. Render. Oh, look, that looks pretty good. Okay, so we want to move it a little bit. Okay, now render that. Okay, now it's in the roughly the right spot, and if we rendered this, we render that, that's in the right spot, and if we scrub it all the way to the end and render it again, lo and behold, it's still in the right spot. It could be maybe a little bit wider. What do you think? All right, so let's scale it a little. Okay, let's render that. Okay, yeah, that's better. That's better. That looks almost perfect. Okay, so this is the end of part 3. The next part will be setting up, it will be changing this block into a building, and then starting our render and finalizing it. So, sorry about this being so long, but I'm not perfect, and but I do the best I can. So this is the end of part 3. I will see you in the next part.